All right. Welcome, everyone. Today I am interviewing Eric and Anthony. They joined about a month ago, and they did their very first launch. It was $30,000. And they also had the chance to, right after their launch, go and attend Funnel Hacking Live, where they received their 2 Comma Club award. And so, this interview it's designed for a lot of it is to help you see what's possible, to break through beliefs. Like if this interview does nothing else other than allow you to see what's actually possible with a Facebook group and an offer and a launch, then we've done our job. So with that said, welcome Eric, welcome Anthony. Super excited to have you guys here. Congratulations on your award. I saw those pictures. I saw your Funnel Hacking Live adventure.
That was fun.
Yeah. For those of you in my audience who don't know you, Eric and Anthony, I'll have you guys, you can choose to speak whenever, but give us a little bit of a backstory in terms of what was a series of events that led you into discovering us and the world of group monetization, and what was the part of you that was like, okay, this makes sense. Let's take a dive into it. I'm always curious about that journey, series of events that led you to figuring us out or finding out about us.
For sure. So I think I got on your email list, and you're also the SMS list and another email list about a year and a half ago. You're just blowing me up on, hey, we're going live today, free event, going live, free challenge. And I kept seeing them come through. And at that same time, me and Anthony we launched a challenge or two before that and some perfect webinars and stuff like that. But then we come to the realization it's really become harder to actually fill our challenges organically, because we made that 2 Comma Club award 100% organically, no paid ads. And we pretty much burned through our warm market when it comes to the organic. We're like, man, we got to figure something out. So I talked to Anthony. I said, hey, we have Kim over here, Kim Dang. And she has worked with other individuals we know, and she's having success building her audiences, filling her challenges. And she actually owns that program, GroupConvert, and I've used it before. So let's go ahead and check her out. And, we really wanted to get onto the paid ads game and try to get that figured out as well, because I think our organic game is dialed in, right? You could only do so much with organic unless you go viral, this, that, and the other. So basically Anthony agreed, let's jump on a call with her. And that's kind of like, he didn't really know you, or like he kind of knew of you a little bit, but didn't really know. We didn't put the pieces together until he seen your face. And so he's like, yeah, let's jump in, kind of see where she can take us, what we can do with the paid ads, and how we can fill these challenges and even make our slide deck a little bit better. So that's kind of like how we came across you about a year and a half ago, when you kept continuously blowing me up in my messaging, which is a good thing, right? It's good marketing. But it's kind of like where we didn't convert right away. And, that just shows you get people in your pipeline. They might not convert today, but, 6 months, a year and a half later, they will convert as long as you provide that value. So that's kind of like how we came across you.
Oh, I love that. So it was the consistent nurture. You knew about our software, one of our software, GroupConvert, that lets you collect emails from groups. So, and then at that point you burn through, you're like, hey, we got organic down, but we need new eyes. We need to figure out ads, and also maybe improve the way in which you launch. So it's important to recognize that you have earned using the organic strategy, and then you recognize that there's some ceiling to that you want to go over, and you want to get help from us. What is it particularly about us that made you go, okay, this makes sense for us to invest in this? Is it because you saw that we ran ads? Is it because that in our conversation, you're like, okay, this is probably that next step? What was it in your customer journey that made you go, this might make sense for us?
Anthony, go ahead and answer, brother.
Yeah, I was actually going to take over for this one, but yeah, as Eric mentioned before, like we were just trying to figure out exactly how to go to that next level overall. And we knew that Kim had, you know, like different programs going out. She has the continuity stuff built out, and it's like she is where basically we want to be. So as every person would do, it's like you want to find that person who's where you're at, and then basically just like follow their steps to get to that path. So the fact that Kim was already running ads, which is exactly what we want to jump into, the fact that Kim already has that continuity stuff built out to where she's creating that consistent recurring revenue. And then the next fact is that she's constantly filling up her challenges. That's exactly where we want to be. So it's like Kim is basically at the part where we want to see ourselves at. And that's why we signed up with Kim, so she can help us to get to where she's actually at right now.
Oh, I love that. And I know that for you guys, you already know how to monetize. You already, it's just like we're like the next step in your journey. So how was it? Just because you saw the consistent emails, did you already kind of made a decision that, okay, this is the next step even before you had a conversation, or did the conversation help you solidify a few questions in your mind about if this is the right choice?
Yeah, like, yes, it was like almost a no-brainer because we were actually actively looking for somebody that we can resonate with, right? And we tried the paid ads game, spent a lot of money on an agency to try to make our ads for us and do all those different things, but we seen that it was coming off original from you, and we didn't see any kind of problem about like moving forward with you because of what you had going on in front of you. We're not afraid of investment. We've invested over $100,000 already up to this point in different coaching programs, trainings, and so it was like we seen all the pieces line up, the stars lined up correctly, and it was like our time to jump into something that's going to catapult us to the next dimension or next step, I guess you could say, because we're still going up. But yeah, it was just basically just getting us to that next step, and just it's just the leading blocks to success. And just in the team that you had behind you too, we understood that you had more of a team aspect. The calls were coming in, or they were scheduled each and every day pretty much, and there's just different parts of our business that we needed help with. And we seen it was almost a no-brainer. After we got off the call with you that night, I spoke with Anthony. We're like, okay, let's go ahead and do it. And then we went and pulled the trigger on it. It's kind of like how it went down.
Yeah, like we were already problem aware. We knew what was going on. We knew that you had the solution. So I would say like we were basically 90% sold before we even jumped on the call with you, and then the call was basically solidified from there.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of emphasize that because that's what was so important here, because with the systems and automations, what's the point of all of that, right? It's to be able to have the buyer come to mostly a decision on their own already before you even have a conversation or a call. And that type of environment is the reason why we have systems, the reason why we have these follow-ups. So it makes it a much easier journey and a much easier buy-in even before the conversation. And that's what I believe like having the automations will enable you to do and enable our clients to mimic that same type of environment for themselves. I do want to dive on into the next piece. So now you're in, and I know that you have inside of our coaching system, there's all the calls and the support. How did you go about, and this is as much for our current clients to hear as well as potential clients, how did you go about consuming the information for you to take action quickly? Because sometimes, to go from starting point to doing a launch, for some people it takes like months on end. For others, it takes 30 days. You guys move really quickly. And can you tell me like what action did you take to go about that speed and not having like a lot of things get in your way?
So one of the biggest things that really helped was the Scott, like our the person who was basically just helping us out directly. That was one of the biggest helps because he outlined us on what to do, And then right after that, once he like saw whatever we had in place, he outlined us with the action steps. What me and Eric did after that is we were like, all right, listen, we don't want to wait months to launch. We want to get in this right away. And the way that we were looking at it is, okay, let's get stuff set up, because we don't have to be perfect for the first time. We don't have to be perfect for the second time. Let's just launch it, run it, and then tweak for the next 2 times. So this time, on the 3rd time around, will be perfect. So we were looking for more of like a 3-month period out, but trying to launch as soon as possible to take imperfect action. And one of the things that really helped out a lot is once Scott lined us out with what to do, we broke it down in the immediate things to get done first. So it's like the things that were going to really impact the challenge, whether it's going to be bringing a lot of people into the challenge or helping us to close a lot of people after the challenge. Those were the things we worked on first. And then we moved to the tasks that like really weren't revenue generating activities. And those were the things that really helped me personally. I'm not sure if Eric has anything to add on to that though.
Yeah, ultimately, before all of that stuff, and we teach this to our people too, and it's just your why has to be so big of why you want to do it, right? It's got to outweigh the fear, because if your why is lighter than the fear and it takes over, then you're not going to get nothing done. There's not going to be instant implementation, right? So your why has to be so grand that you'll go to any length to do anything at any point. And once you have that mindset and you have the right strategy in front of you, take it off in bite-sized pieces, right? That's how you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. But that why is what drives us to continue doing what we're doing. Just like Kim, she has a why that's so big. That's why she's where she's at today. So if our why is not strong enough, and this goes for the new individuals just trying to start into this stuff, your why is why you got started, and your why is what's going to continue to track and travel in this path. And this isn't the end of the line either. This is just the first step. If this is your first launch, this is just the first step of facing fears and failure. And once we do that, our why is going to carry us through each and every time. There might be emotional stress points, but ultimately it's going to come down to the why. And then, and as Anthony said, the strategy and what needs to be taking place currently right now.
Yeah, like what you said was so important, Eric. It's when when I see resistance in maybe potential clients or anyone who speaks to us about this, they're like, oh man, what if I don't have an amazing first launch? Is there anyone that could what happens when that fails? And you're like, hey, your why needs to be so strong. You'll do whatever it takes to make sure that you did everything you could to do this, and that it gives you so much confidence to move forward and say this will work, because you're going to do everything you can. And I saw that you showed up to my calls. I saw that you showed up to Scott. You asked really more detailed questions as well, and you really tried to knock off every single line. So you just brute force your way through the information. I do want to ask you in terms of these fears and the resistance that some people might have. Why didn't it cross your mind that what if this won't work? What if we pour in all this energy and time and our first launch isn't the best, or isn't the most successful, or even successful? What got you through that? And it could be part of that why piece, but I would like to hear it from you guys, why that resistance wasn't as much there, or how do you mentally overcome that thought, if it ever came up?
Yeah, personally, you can look at something and look at it as a huge mountain, and you can overwhelm yourself, or I do at times, is overwhelm myself with the amount of abundant stuff that's in front of it. Because building out a challenge, is it easy? No. Is it worth it? Yes. And the thing of it is as long as we just take initial action steps on that detailed step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and only focus on that step, get that step out of the way. It's imperfect action. You don't have to make it perfect, because nobody's launches are ever going to be really truly perfect on their first one, right? You're always going to be learning along the way. As long as we understand that, because we're not trying to make $1 million today, right? We're not trying to impact 1 million lives today, but it's going to happen over a course of time. And so as long as we we visualize and we could see the outline in front of us step by step, and then have an end goal, you know, and visually be able to see that, it makes it so much easier for me, myself, and I'm sure Anthony as well. He keeps me grounded a lot because I'll get overwhelmed, you know, all the other stuff that's going on in the background on top of just, you know, trying to put people into a challenge. There's a lot more for a business owner, and you're like, you know, so you have to stay grounded. And Anthony helps me stay grounded 100% because he is really detailed. He's really, he pays attention to detail, and he pays attention like organization. And so that goes for anybody. Kim has a detailed outline, what you need to do first, all the way to last, and just take that one portion, move everything out to the side, and just focus on that one obstacle or that one objective that you have to complete. And then you bring it back to you guys. Don't be afraid to go to the coaching calls, right? Because we jump in a coaching call, ask our question, and dip out. That's how it goes, right? Because we want instant implementation. And that's how we come in, we bounce out, come in and bounce out. But we always got reinforced, or that we asked the question, is this correct? What do I do next? And then we say, yes, it's correct, or no, do this differently. We immediately go do it and then move on to the next step, right? And so that was just it's a repeat of itself over and over and over again. Because you don't when you ride a bike, you're going to fall down the first time. When you go swimming, it's going to be, you're like you're drowning. But do we give up? Do we quit? No, you keep moving forward because that's something we want to attain. And it's all about just like jumping in the pool or jumping off the diving board the first time, or whatever it is in life. It's the same kind of aspect. But throughout life, we were built with ceilings and glass walls, and we were taught, you know, to only, you know, have excellence, or, you know, it's got to be perfect the first time. But in entrepreneurship, it is not like that whatsoever, because it's all a learning curve for everybody. Even to this day, I'm learning more and more information every single day. And yes, it is overwhelming. Yes, I do have my breakdowns every once in a while. Everybody will, but we just got to dust ourselves off, and we got to keep moving forward.
Yeah, it's not about if it's going to happen. It's more about like when it's going to happen. Because as Eric said, like, we're all learning, we're all practicing. It might not happen the first time, it might not the second, but it probably will the third. Just show up, ask questions, take notes, and implement. Those are really the key things that you need to do. We've been inside of a ton of mentorship programs, some of them awesome, some of them trash, but throughout every single one of them, we've always done these key things. Show up, implement, ask questions, and basically that's it. Every single one we've been in, we've always seen success. So I wouldn't really say that it's about like the information in it. It's more about just like taking action and then having that right mindset. Not about if it's going to happen, but more about when it's going to happen.
Yeah, I love that. You guys already, you know, that's why you're such a good fit for the program, because you're already mentally like in that place, and that you can come into our environment and utilize the tools that we have, and just follow it and get results. I do want to ask about how, since you've invested in so many, like Eric, you mentioned you've spent over $100,000 in coaching, you guys, how are we different than, what are the things that were different about us, and what changes did you see in the way that you go about things, as you are picking up the implementation portion of our program? Can you let us know a little bit of like, what did you experience that was different than the other coaching programs?
2 words: consistency and availability, right? Because you guys are staying consistent, and availability on your guys' part. You show up each and every day on the calls. There's not really no missed calls at all. You know, if you guys reschedule, it might be for later that day. So it's just the consistency, and on your guys' part as well, right? You guys put it out in front of us, so we might as well take advantage of it. We invested. And so like, that was like the biggest thing that stuck out to me. I'm sure Anthony might have something different, but it was just organized, and it was there for us, and it was available. It wasn't, you guys weren't holding anything back, right? You weren't gatekeeping any information. And if say Scott didn't know the information, he was right on top of going to find out that information we need to learn or know. So that's what I experienced through this process. And Anthony, I'm sure you have maybe something different.
Actually, no, it was the same stuff for me. Like, honestly, it was Scott that's the game changer for everything. Like, I absolutely love Scott. He's pretty awesome. But yeah, like, nobody else has that one-to-one connection where there's some days where, like, let's just say it's like a Tuesday and it's 3:00 in the afternoon, and me and Eric are going over something. We're like, maybe we should ask Scott that. Let's see when he's available. Turns out he's available for the same day booking. We schedule it with him, get our questions answered, and then we won't move on to the next part.
Oh yeah. Like one of our
So
companies.
that availability always keeps us moving with speed every single day. Unlike, oh, sorry, did I cut off there?
Yeah, you froze a little bit. You were
We have a little bit of a
Oh,
lag.
sorry.
I think
Oh,
it's like an 80s
so sorry
breakdance,
about that.
80s breakdance movie or something.
Gotcha. But like, yeah, that's the big thing. It's not about waiting for a mastermind to happen once a week to where we're always waiting to get our questions answered. It's like immediate answers to our questions, and we're going to keep moving forward.
And what type of changes did you see in your own business? I know that you expressed to me earlier in the year you had a much bigger team, and then you changed and restructured things. So in terms of coming into our program, how did what you've experienced change the way that you do business, or were there any noticeable changes that you implemented into your business that led to the results that you have?
Anthony?
Yeah. So what we did differently is that beforehand we used to run like paid challenges and stuff, and we found it kind of hard to fill that up, and it was quite stressful for us to always worry about filling those up. And we never thought about running a free challenge, and it wasn't until we started running the free challenges where we're like, oh wow, this is actually much simpler to get people into. At first we thought free challenges were going to be looked at as a joke, but once we structured it differently, as you guys mentioned, it's a real game changer. So it's like we get them into the free challenge, and then we have them like schedule calls after, and it makes things much more seamless. And right now we really don't need a big team to run these challenges. For our previous challenges, for paid challenges, we used to have a big team. Like we needed a team to manage this stuff, but now it's a lot more easier to run. It's less stressful, and we can see ourselves actually having like predictable income each month.
That's really important. The change from uncertainty, the struggle to fill up a challenge when it's paid, and then now you're like, hey, it's so much easier to fill up this group. They book out the calls, and you see yourself having this consistency now, where there's that confidence that your challenge will fill up. If it fills up to a certain number, then the probability of conversion is X%. And as long as you hit that, you're able to go and have at least a baseline level of revenue to your business every single month, and you can build from there.
So like we've seen around the same amount of percentage on closing, and maybe a little bit more with the free challenges. So we had 100 people enlist this last challenge, 26 stayed consistent all the way through. And so at the end of the day, it's like a 6% closing on that, right? So, or somewhere around there. So, it was really good turnaround as far as conversions. And I think if we put 200 or 300 in, it's just going to get even better. We're talking about even putting a paid VIP at the end of it. We're going to try that aspect too, to get some of the ad spend back. But, for the most part, it was kind of a lot less abrasive and lower barrier to entry, using and running a free challenge. Not that paid challenges are bad. It's just really trying to find that targeted individual that is willing to pay for that information up front and then also invest again. It's not a bad thing either way. I seen greatness with the paid, and I seen greatness with the free, but the paid, it seemed like there was a lot more friction when we had the team, I guess you could say, because we gamified it a whole different way. Like we were keeping track on the most ridiculous stuff, right? We were going above and beyond, like it was a Wheel of Fortune or something like that. But yeah, it was like Price is Right, it's just, it's a lot easier to ask somebody, because if somebody will get into something for free, they'll pay for it as well, right? And so, I hope that helps anybody out there that's watching this that's newer. And I don't want to charge for this, or it's hard for me to ask money. Is my stuff good enough to charge? Well, give it away for free, right? Put a challenge together, get it out there for free, and see what happens. And that's pretty much what it boils down to, and that's what we did this time.
Yeah, I remember our conversation. You're like, well, are there going to be like a lot of moving pieces and a lot of things, and you got to gamify this and that? And I'm like, not as much. Like, you can run it like this, and then you guys are like, oh, That sounds great.
A lot smoother for the most part. Now we have our slides done, and we refined a few of them because of the pain points and problems that we experienced in the rebuttals we heard through the last challenge. We adjusted the slides accordingly, and this launch should be just as good, if not better. Being that we were gone for a whole week, it kind of took away from our promotion pretty much for a week. So, our goal is to get at least 100 people in this time again, and so we'll see what happens at the end of the day.
I love that.
Launch it again on the 16th.
Yes, let's go. I love that you're like, let's go. Let's be consistent. Let's continue doing this. And also, like, what's next for you guys would be creating a more evergreen environment, which is going to be really exciting as well. That will lead to consistent book calls and conversion. Now, when you came into our world, and I was like, yeah, you fill up a group, do your launch, you convert 3 to 5%. When I said that, some people might be like, I don't know if that's possible. Or they're like, oh, will that really happen? And I want to kind of highlight that for you guys. That's exactly like what you guys did and what happened. I want to ask about, like, when you were building this, when you were going through this step-by-step, what was the thing that took the most time? What was the most challenging about your journey? And how did you overcome those challenges?
Slides, probably, I would say, because you got the hero's journey, I have the internal, external, and all those different things we have to figure out and dig deep into our avatar. And, I don't think if we didn't know our avatar as well as we did, I don't think it would have been as good as launch. So that's another thing, for people that are watching right now is have that avatar dialed in on their problems and pain points, their struggles, their mindset of not just yourself, but the mindset of the potential client, and put yourself in the shoes of them 2 chapters below you. And so you can say, okay, this is when I started, I felt this way, but here's how I can overcome that by, what I done in my previous challenge or the previous X amount, whatever it is. So I think it was just dialing in on that the avatar, and then the slide deck was probably the most strenuous, I guess. If that was even strenuous at all, I guess, I don't know. But that was the slides. What were you saying, Anthony?
Yeah, slides too. Just one, knowing like how to organize it, and then knowing like what to put where in terms of like messaging, so that this way you're actually speaking to the direct pain points. That was really it. Just trying to figure out like what to put where, but the outline that was inside of the training helped a lot with what needed to go where. And yeah, for the most part, that would just be the most stressful thing, but it wasn't really that bad just because we had that outline there that you provided for us.
For sure. And people buy an emotion too. So we always got to remember that, it doesn't matter if it's a brand new car, if it's a brand new microwave, people are buying on emotion. You might need a brand new microwave, but because you're just burnt out, but we still always pretty much invest, or we buy or purchase on emotion. When you only need something, I find myself out there trying to go buy something else because if it feels good to go buy something, right? So people purchase and pay for based on emotion, and also upgrading in their life some kind, right? Going from apartment to a house, from a house to a bigger house. So it's always trying to upgrade. And so like, think about that aspect is you're not selling anything to anybody, you're offering a solution to their problem. And whatever their problem is that's, their pain points and their struggles that they're currently having in their business, or they're trying to get out of their 9 to 5 or whatever it may be, feeling challenges.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned that you got to really know your avatar. In terms of the program itself, what have you witnessed in terms of what we teach? Does it apply to a certain type of person? What is, in your opinion, who this program can be for, as you've experienced it? Yeah, I'm curious.
I'll answer first, and I'll answer second.
Yeah, I feel like this program, just the way challenges work, I feel like it can work for anybody who has any type of product or service that they want to launch. It kind of doesn't matter whether it's physical products or digital products. I just feel like if you got anything to sell, it's gonna end up working, because like the content strategy is there, the sales strategy is there, the systems are there. I just feel like literally if you got anything to sell, I'm sorry for having it kind of broad, but it's just how I personally see it. That like if you have anything to sell, this system will work.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off that. So like having that foundation in place first, rather than coming in and trying to have the idea of what am I going to sell, and then also the idea of how am I going to promote or push and feel a challenge. It's two. You're like battling against yourself, right? You're trying to figure out what product it is, and then you're trying to figure out the avatar. So if you already have a product, it doesn't matter if it was proven to sell and proven to convert, because that will come out in the end, right? So as long as you have a foundation or an idea of something that's already established, it's going to be so much easier for the individual that comes into your course, into your program, is if they already have something fairly solidified. It's worked a little bit in the past, but they just really want to take it to the next level, right? So I think it's going to work for anybody that already has something established and a foundation of some kind, because it's going to be easier for you guys to work off that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like that you said, Anthony, that it's for anyone with any service, physical or digital, this will work. I always say like, hey, it comes down to math. It makes like you're funneling people to making a buying decision. So there's this path to purchase for them. And a lot of times like sending people to like a website or to like, there's so many choices, and we're having them choose one direction. So I have a lot of confidence in this method working for a lot of people. But I love that you said that as well. Go ahead.
You're able to nurture because like if people go through a sales funnel, a person needs at least, some some people say 7 hours, but I believe it's 7 hours of seeing you or seeing an individual before they actually make that buying decision, right? Because you have to nurture that individual. They have to like and trust you and see that. So through a challenge, you're able to nurture the leads, like storytelling, the hero's journey, all of these things tie into, why you're doing this in the first place and how it can actually help somebody. Then they get to like and trust you. Then it's almost a no-brainer at the end if they have money to invest or a credit score, it doesn't matter. But it's really important to sell one to many. And that process, it's a little less abrasive than a sales funnel, because a lot of people, maybe 20%, 30% max might purchase on that front end of that sales funnel. And then you usually hit them in the back end through nurturing. So, and that sometimes comes down to email sequences, or even bring them into a Facebook group where you can do long form content.
Yeah. One of our clients, Christopher Stubbs, I said, isn't this a great alternative? And he was like, what do you mean alternative? This is like the way. This is what you should do like first if you're launching. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I love your guys' energy. So I kind of want to hear like, at what point after you enrolled coming into the program did it feel like that it's worth the investment? And then also at what point, how many weeks or how many days after did you see that, okay, this is absolutely going to work? And also, when did you see your return on investment coming into the program? So just to answer that this is what we do. We cut it into a clip. So what is it? Amount of time until you felt like there was your first win, like it's worth it. Amount of time until you got your return on your investment, and then what is the revenue was the amount that you got.
So I guess as soon as we knew it was going to be a win is when we started implementing, right? Because it doesn't matter. You can put together you can literally put something together that's pretty much trash, bring people to it. As long as you're yourself and you're transparent, you're going to have some success at the end of it, one way or another, either more knowledge, or a little bit more money in your bank account. So just as soon as we seen the structure, I guess, for myself, right, I seen the structure, how it was laid out. Because we've been in many different programs, from Dan Henry all the way down, just you can keep naming them. We've probably been in it, right? And so some are structured differently in the availability. So I think that was like, we knew we were action takers as long as we had the information, and we're able to get our questions asked, since we move with so much speed. We don't sit on anything, right? If it's an idea, we think about it and then we make it manifest. This is the way it works. And so, that was that. And then I think on the return on investment was within the first launch, since it wasn't a paid launch. So within we're at 30 days now being together or something like that. Okay. So we launched our first one in I think 18 days or 19 days. We actually had the launch. So 18 days, we got our investment back. and the total money earned, I think, is a little over 35,000, about 25, 30, 32,000, something like that. Because we have people on payment plans too. Yeah.
We also have some other calls booked later on in the month, which actually might make it move up a lot more. But we'll probably include that into this next challenge.
Yeah, I know for curriculums and like some people go to and pay for university and they, wait 4 years to see a return on the investment. For the decision that you guys made in terms of investing in yourself with this program, what is it? Did it meet your expectations? Was it below your expectations? What are the feelings that you feel when you went through this, where you invested this amount and then 30 days later you got this back? Like how, walk me through what that experience is like, because I think since you're more in the world of already converting, it's a little bit different than someone who just come into it kind of newer. And then in 30 days, they're making $32,000 on like the investment that they put in. So I kind of want to hear your guys, how did it affect you personally as you go through this experience?
Yeah, ultimately, we signed up because we've seen that you're filling challenges with paid ads, right? And we've seen you all over the place, and you run the ads all the time and whatever. So that was like our biggest like attraction was, okay, we need to figure out paid ads because this is the next level. We're tired of just hitting 100K months. We need to hit something that's a little higher. And so I think the paid aspect portion of that is what really attracted us to it, and then the system behind that. So I hope that kind of answered your question, and Anthony could definitely piggyback off it, but it was mostly the paid ads aspect. And then the friction that we felt, I guess you said as well, was that it didn't come full circle for us fast enough. Like my ads account got limited. It was like open, then I was spending, I think like $90 a day. And then I tried to increase it, this challenge, to $160 a day, which isn't a whole bunch of money, right? It's not, but as soon as we increased it, they bopped us and put us down to $50 a day. And then I had to do all this verification, send my tax ID number and all these different things. So it's getting worked out right now, but that's, I guess, the only little bit of friction that we've experienced, because the organic side of things, we got it plugged. It was just the ad side, and ads are tricky, right? You're gonna have to probably spend $3,000 in ads before you even see any kind of return on it. You have to get your stuff optimized. You have to target the right people. Then the algorithm has to learn who you are and who you're targeting and all these other different things. So, now we're in the retargeting aspect of it. So all the people that didn't purchase or clicked on the link but didn't jump in, not purchase, but didn't jump in, then we're retargeting them. So I think it's going to be a better outcome this time, but like the paid ads aspect, because I don't see you doing too much organic marketing. Maybe I don't notice, but it was the paid ad stuff that kind of really drew us in, and trying to figure that out, because that's a beast to figure out, I guess. Once you do figure it out though, then it's like, it's just money rolling in whenever you need it, pretty much.
Yeah, I would say that the program did meet my expectations and stuff, because everything was organized, outlined, structured. The one thing that exceeded my expectations was the availability. And we're going to keep mentioning that over and over again, because the availability in this program is insane. You really don't see it anywhere else. And we truly thank you for that. Just always being available. You, Scott, the team, everybody else inside of the Slack channel.
Yeah, it's one of the things that we see facilitates speed. We have a core value for our company, which is we're not going to be the restaurant that at like 9 o'clock it closes, and someone's coming to the door and they're like, please, do you have like a time for one more person, like to seat us to have the meal? It's like, yeah, we're gonna let them come in and serve the meal, versus saying, oh, sorry, like we're closed. And kind of like that's one of our company values is we know that if you get the support that you deserve and you need through this journey, that you will be successful. It's that's how we feel. But I love that you mention that again, that it's like the extreme support. And also, I believe Dan Henry taught ads. So I'm surprised you're like, that you didn't go through like the ad journey with Dan Henry. I think that's his program, right? Like just ads or something.
Not just ads, no. It teaches you how to build up. Like if you have no program, no offer, no idea, he shows you exactly how to inspire an idea and then actually build out your program from the ground up. But he adds ads in there, and he has a great ads process. But we were just crushing it with organic. We didn't see any reason a year ago to invest in ads because we were doing 60 to 100K months, and it was like, okay, it was organics dialed in. We refined our offer, and he actually helped us build that offer out. And it started with Perfect Webinar, so the 3 secrets, stuff like that webinar. But yeah, so that's why we invested with Dan, just to get our stuff restructured.
Oh, okay, got it. I want to shift the interview to how did your perception of the next year changed now that you've gotten part of our systems down, of like doing your first launch, gonna go on your second one. I know that you have your goals for yourself in terms of revenue, but like how did experiencing our program shift your perspective on what the future looks like for you in whatever way? I'm curious to hear about that.
It's the dramatic demonstration. I'm not sure you heard of the linchpin, right? So by going through your guys' program and seeing the different types of way to run a challenge, it's going to be the front end of our linchpin. And so what that is basically a continuity program. And so, it opened up our eyes to say, okay, we could run a challenge every 30 days, continuously put people into the pipeline. But on the back end, we can have 3 different levels, have like a $27, a $97, and then a high ticket possibly, right, for our continuity. And so that's kind of like what opened up our eyes, is like how easy we can actually get this thing to flow month after month. Because we were doing a challenge every other month, trying to figure out how to, fill the next one up with the team. And now it's just basically me, Anthony. We have a VA, and we have like a little tech guy that helps us out. And so that's kind of like what we seen and opened our eyes, that we could possibly do this every month and fill our challenges to build on the continuity. Because that's, if you don't have a continuity, you don't have a business, from what we're learning. And so that's kind of like what we're really adapting. And by 2025, mark our words, we'll be at $100 million.
Let's go.
100%.
Anthony, what about you? How did this shift the perspective of the future of the company for you?
Yeah, so it's funny that Eric basically said, similar to what I was already going to say, it's just the fact that we know we're going to be able to bring people in every single month. So it's like the lead flow is never going to really be a problem. And then once we got those leads, we're going to start building out that like recurring revenue and just keep building it up from there. And then like, let's just say 6 months down the road, it's like we're going to have a really the revenue is like going to be there in terms of just like having like the first of every single month, just like a stack of cash lined up, just because we're able to bring all these leads in. And it's really exciting to see that that's the path that we're going down, and really just happy of all the success that we're seeing right now.
I love that. I want to there's the old way, which is organic is crushing it. And there's that uncertainty, there's that grind. And that grind is like, you will grind and you're fine with grinding. But that if that's all it is, then the minute you stop grinding, it's like it stops, right? So this, one of the biggest pieces of our program, and what I really love to do, is to be able to move you away from that like state of gotta work, or else there's gonna be a well that is no longer filled with water. And now it's like, oh, that well could be consistently filled as long as this is being ran, and it's not your own energy and time for everything, which is what organic really is, pure organic. So I love that you said that. So I do want to ask, in terms of your sales calls, because you converted 6%, how were the sales calls completely the same? Were they different? was converting easier, or was it exactly the same for you guys? Let me know the different environment.
I would say they're about the same because we have 7 hours of content with case studies, testimonials, all that thing before people get on a call. They might not watch all 7 hours of this case studies and testimonials that we have to pre-frame them for the call. But, you know, it's being that we had such a close contact with the individuals, the sales calls, I typically get done within 20 minutes, right? Closing out the door because they're so well nurtured. Now, this last challenge, we didn't have that 7 hours of content or the follow-up, you know, testimonials, case studies. We did bring 2 clients in for 2 interviews. We've done those types of things to help inspire people to take action because they've seen the results in somebody else and they could actually, you know, picture them as being that person. So, you know, I think it was a well-rounded aspect of it, but we didn't apply, you know, before the call, the 7-hour rule is what we call it. Of case studies and testimonials. We just went and done the live. And to tell you the truth, I didn't even go live. I was leaving that Friday. I recorded those calls. I got this other program and it says I was going live and I posted them. And then one of the videos only ran for 2 minutes for the live. So I had to come back and repost it. But yeah.
Yeah, we have another client, Ryan Cron. He's on his 6th challenge and it's ran completely just all automated streaming into a group. He does about 30K for his he's like, should I increase this frequency more than once a month? And I'm like, yeah, you definitely.
Yeah, automated for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I love that when I stepped into the more automated world, it was by coincidence because I used to run all these live, and then one day I was stuck in traffic and you know, I couldn't make it go back to do the live. I'm like, hey team, I'm not going to be there. What are we going to do? And then one of my team members like, let's stream a past one. And we streamed a past video. And in that video, there was a fire alarm going on. So it's like beep, beep, beep in the background. And the comments were, we know this is live. Look at your fire alarm. Like, this is when you know it's live. And it was a stream.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, like it's really cool what's up ahead for you guys. I'm really excited for you. And especially to build out the back-end offer as well and the Ascension value ladder. That's going to be really exciting. I want to ask you in terms of, you know, these interviews are around 50 minutes, 55 minutes. So to wrap up, it's one of the questions I love to ask is personally, how did your life shift or change in terms of personal changes that you saw within yourself or within the way that you run the company, the way that you talk to each other, or the way you communicate with clients? Were there any personal shifts for you guys through this journey? I know it's only been 30 days, but that's a question I love to ask because it's not all about business all the time. Unless it is.
Me and Anthony we have a great relationship, right? I look at him as like my brother, my younger brother, like kid brother. You know, he's only 22 years old. I'm not gonna say only, but he's 22 years old with a mindset of like not working for somebody as soon as he got out of college. So like our relationship is really good. He's really organized. He's mellow. Me, I'm just really boom, boom, spontaneous. And sometimes I get emotional in different things too, because I get overwhelmed fairly easy when I have a whole bunch on my plate. So Anthony helps me stay grounded. Now, as far as anything personally that has shifted with us, like anything, it just brought us probably closer together as being a partnership, because he understands me like really well and I understand him really well. So it kind of works in conjunction with each other. That's my take. Go ahead, Anthony. What do you guys say, bro?
Yeah, I don't really think that there was too many changes other than just like us working closer together. Because I feel like every single project we go through, every single launch and stuff, I feel like every single one of them just helps us to further like the partnership and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't really know too much like if there was a huge impact, or maybe there was and we just like don't know it because everything's like so like fine tuned and stuff. But yeah, like really always just happy to continue working with Eric.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, your guys' relationship got closer together the more you experience. So my last few questions is, if someone's on the fence to joining Ignite and they are a good fit with us, which according to Anthony is anyone with any service, physical or digital, that this will work. And they're on the fence in that they're like, oh man, what if I have, I'm already in other programs. I'm already, I might not have the time, or and they're on the fence to doing this program. What would you say to them? And after that, where can my audience find you? Who do you specifically serve? Because there's some people who resonate with me, and then there are going to be people who resonate with you. So I want them to know where to find you.
For sure. Anthony, go ahead.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, sorry, I I just got distracted. What was the first part?
Yeah, the question is, if someone was to be on the fence
again,
they are on the fence to joining Ignite.
Oh yeah, on the fence. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So if you're currently on the fence of joining Ignite, like obviously even just watching this video in the first place, you resonate with Kim, right? So it's like you've been in her world, you're watching her videos, you're watching this right now, you're already thinking about it. I would say the more that you keep thinking about it, the more that you're going to stay stuck in that problem that you're currently in. So it's like if you're currently watching this right now, you're already problem aware, you're already solution aware, you're already brand aware. You just have to jump in and trust the process, because the process works. It's not only worked for us, it's worked for Kim, but also for many of other Kim's clients. So it's like if you trust the process, if you trust Kim, if you trust yourself, take the action, because you won't regret it. I remember when it first came to me making my big investment. Like if you think this is going to be a big investment for you right now, it's still going to be worth it, because as Kim mentioned earlier, people go through college, they spend thousands of dollars just to really not go anywhere. But these are real high income skills that you're going to have for a lifetime, and it's really going to help you out. And yeah, Eric, do you got anything else you want to add on?
And so as far as like if somebody invested into a program before this, there's a reason why they didn't have success, and it boils down, as owners of a business, we have to take 99% of responsibility, right? So make this, if they decide to invest with you, which I recommend, take this opportunity to pay back that investment, because it's going to be a cash injection, really quickly, as long as you take those initial action steps to pay back that other investment. Like you just said, if they invested in other programs, so, just look at this as like a new clean slate, right? With new ideas, drop down all limiting beliefs. And, if there's any, don't try to, I guess you can combat the process, right? Just go with the flow and then see if it works out at the end. As long as you put 100% effort in, and that, it's like a partnership. It's a win-win as long as you take action. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we have full responsibility. Kim could have the best program in the world, and we would have had no success, and that would have been all on us, right? 100%, right? Because it's proof in the pudding that it did work previously for many other people, like Anthony just said. So, look at this. Look at this as a new beginning, a new opportunity to jump in, to actually get a cash injection, to recoup from whatever investments or bad business decisions you made before, and move forward with the process, because this isn't done here. We just invested another $25,000 over in ClickFunnels over the past weekend to learn some more stuff. And that was the lower end of the spectrum, right? So we're not afraid to invest. We always recoup our money back. And like these programs, a lot of them, like this one, we pretty much went through the whole thing for the most part. But even the other programs like Dan Henry, we made, I don't know, a couple $250,000, $300,000, invested $15K, and only went through this much of his program as an example. And there's just so much more we could go to and go back and implement, or just go back and start from the top and go through it again, right? But it all starts up here. It doesn't matter who you invest in. It all starts up here, and knowing your why, ultimately, that's what's going to be the game changer. As long as you understand that why, because that's going to be the driving force behind everything that we do. And I'll argue this every single day with somebody if they want to. You want to argue with this? No. But yeah, it's just the why, having that why and that foundation of why you're doing this, and just know this process works. And where you can find us is we're all over the place. So so TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all those different things. But primarily we're on Facebook. It's Passive Income Blueprints, Eric Forner. I'm not sure. What's the group name now? I think we switched it up for SEO purposes, right? What is it now, Anthony?
Yeah, we did.
I mean, look, I don't even know the name of our group. That's hilarious. We switched it up though. It's affiliate marketing and passive income. Yeah, so just basically search passive income blueprints and you'll find us.
Yeah, passive income blueprints. I included as a comment down there. So you'll be able to find them under passive income blueprints. And who do you help specifically?
From the struggling, trying to figure out how to put the pieces together. They want information on even what a sales funnel is. We try to stay away from people that don't know how to copy and paste, but people that, because it's just hard. It's just rough, right? So basically, if somebody's struggling in their business and they want to make, I guess 100K a month, we can help them scale to that point. And people that want to start out, because we have several different programs that will accommodate to their needs.
Awesome. All right, guys. I love that you show up today. This will not be the last time that I bring you guys in. I love to continue the journey as you continue growing and scaling. I'm really excited for the future for you guys, because there is also the reverse call funnel. There is also the revenue replay portal method, and there's a lot more to automate this journey for you guys. So I'm really excited. With that said, thank you so much for showing up. I'm now going to put you back into the green room. Stay there because we have our little chat afterwards. And then, and thank you guys so much for showing up today.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
Let's go. So that was Anthony and Eric. They're passive income blueprints. And they're already seasoned marketers, and they're able to come in and utilize what we have in order to get the results in as quick as 30 days. So I'm really excited for the future that they have. You guys, our cart opened yesterday, and at this point we have 6 slots left for this round. Make sure that if you are on the fence and you want to have a conversation to see if you're a good fit, drop a comment below, call, and we'll be able to go and have that conversation with you, or go to groupconvert.com/scale and schedule your time in. All right. With that said, have a great rest of your day. And if you're watching the replay, I'll see you in the next video.